Hello friends, in this video we are going to start with a signal flow graph. Let us begin. So let us understand the definition of signal flow graph. Signal flow graph is a graphical representation of set of linear algebraic equations between input and output. Let us understand. Very important thing that it is always a graphical representation. So a graphical representation is a signal flow graph. Now the question is how to make a graphical representation. What is the source of this graphical representation? Then I'll tell you. It is a graphical representation of linear algebraic equations. So linear algebraic equations are given to you. You have to treat those variables as nodes and then you have to draw some graphical representation. So I'll give you one example over here. For example, let's say if I'm writing like this, y1 is equal to 5 times y2. So I'll draw two nodes here, one node with y1, the other node with y2. How do I decide these are nodes? Simple. Look at variables. Here there are two variables, y1 and y2. Is that right? So you have to draw a line segment between y1 and y2. Now the gain is how much? It is 5. And they say that y1 is equal to 5 times y2. Then you have to make some incoming arrow towards y1 and you have to write a gain as 5. So y1 equal to 5 y2 is a algebraic equation. This algebraic equation I have represented in a graphical form, or I would say a graphical representation. So this is what we call as a signal flow graph. So now what is going to happen? This is just a simple equation where I have converted into a graphical representation. So this cannot be the exactly signal flow graph. Signal flow graph in fact looks quite complex because this is not only about one equation. The set of equations are given to you and you have to convert it into a whole diagram, and that makes a signal flow graph. Let's take one question. So question says you have to construct a signal flow graph for the following set of linear algebraic equations. So as you can see, some set of equations are given, and now look at the variables. If you see carefully, y1 to y6 are variables. Then I would say y1 to y6 are nothing but nodes. So I'll make this number of nodes. The first node is y1, next node y2, then y3, y4, y5 and y6. Is that right? So let's go for a very first equation. y2 is equal to y1 plus twice of y3. Right now, just ignore this part. Look at this. They say y2 equal to y1. Then what I'll do, I'll draw a line segment between y1 and y2. As you can see, coefficient is 1. Then I'll show incoming arrow with gain equal to 1 towards y2. Is that right? Please understand, whatever written on left hand side becomes the receiving node. Am I right? And whatever written at right hand side is a transmitting node. So in this case, y1 becomes transmitting, y2 becomes receiving. But then y2 is receiving something not only from y1 but also from y3. So it is also receiving something from y3. So since it is receiving something from y3 with gain equal to how much? 2. So I'll draw this way. It is receiving from y3 with gain equal to 2. Now, it is not necessary that you have to draw this way. You can in fact draw this way also, that something is coming to y2 with gain equal to 2. But either of this you have to draw. Fine. So I'll rough the above part now. Now we have done with a first equation. Let's take care of the second algebraic equation, which says now y3 equal to. When I say y3 equal to, it means y3 is going to receive something, right? It is going to receive from y2 as well as y4 with gains as 3 and 4 respectively. So y3 is going to receive from y2. So I can draw it this way with gain equal to how much? 3. y3 is also receiving from y4 with gain equal to 4. So I can draw this way. It is receiving from y4 with gain equal to 4. Is that right? So now we have done with equation 2 also. Let's take care of equation 3. It says y4 equal to 5 times y3. So y4 equal to 5 times y3. So we know that y4 is going to receive now. It is going to receive from y4 itself. Now look at this equation very carefully. y4 equal to 6 times y4. It means it is going to receive and it is going to terminate into the same node with gain equal to how much? 6, right? Look at third term. It says 7 times y5. So y4 is going to receive from y5 with gain equal to how much? That is 7. So now we have done with third. Let's go for the fourth equation, which says y5 equal to 8 times y4. So now y5 will receive from y4. So y5 is receiving from y4 with gain equal to 8. Then it is also going to receive from y2. So y5 is going to receive from y2 like this. I can probably go this way. With gain equal to how much? It is 7. Is that right? So now only last equation is left, which says simply y6 equal to y5. So you cannot write y6 equal to y5 means y5 equal to y6. It is not same, right? Whatever written on left hand side, it is always receiving 1. And whatever written on right hand side would be a transmitting 1. So it would be like this, that there would be connection from y5 to y6 and not from y6 to y5, right? With gain equal to how much? It is 1. If nothing is written, you have to treat coefficient as 1. So now what you see is a graphical representation is nothing but a signal flow graph. Is that right? So within the same SFG, we have to see some standard terminologies which you will face while solving the problems on SFG. So a very first terminology I'll go for something called as a forward path. So let us understand the meaning of forward path. So first terminology that we are going to understand is a forward path. See, the name says it is a forward path. It means you have to select a path in a given signal flow diagram in such a way that you will travel from input to output. So it is pretty common sense. I would say y1 as input and y6 as output. And imagine that you have to travel from y1 to y6, but then you have to always respect or you have to always give an importance to the arrow mark strictly. So you have to travel from y1 to y6. As you can see, you can travel in this way only. And there is no other possible forward path, am I right? There is no other possible forward path that you can travel from y1 to y6 that you may feel in a first chance. But first of all, let me tell you, there are two forward paths here. So I'll take this forward path number 1. I would treat a first forward path as T1. It goes like this: y1 to y2, then y2 to y3, y3 to y4, y4 to y5, and y5 to y6. Am I right? Look at the second forward path, T2. I can also travel this way. I mean, look at this, y1 to y2, and then directly going from here. So I can go this way also. So it is like this: y1 to y2, y2 will directly go to y5, and from y5 will directly go to y6. So this is a second forward path possible, am I right? So there are two forward paths possible in this case. Let us understand the second terminology, that is nothing but a source node. As well as we'll understand what is meant by a sink node. So now you have to find a particular node which is always sourcing something, or you have to see line segments which are always going away from a particular node. That node is called as a source node. So by observation, I can say that y1 is a source node. Remember, source node is also called as input node. So what is meant by source node? From a particular node where you will get only outgoing directions. I mean, you will find never ever something that is incoming with respect to y1. So y1 is always sourcing something, y1 isn't receiving anything from any node, and therefore y1 is called as purely source node, or it is also called as input node. Whereas when I say source node is also called as input node, I can say sink node as output node. So sink is opposite word to source, right? So sink node is that node which keeps on receiving from other nodes, but at the same time it makes sure that it is not sourcing anything. So by observation you should understand y6 is the only node which is receiving, and it is not transmitting or it is not sourcing anything to any node. So I would say y6 is nothing but a sink node. So nature of sink node is to only sink. So the reason why y2 cannot be a source node, because y2 is not only transmitting but it is also receiving. Am I right? So I'm sure this source node and sink node terminologies are clear to you. Let us understand a fourth terminology, that is nothing but loops. So what is meant by a loop? It is nothing but a closed path where starting point and terminating point would be same, right? So in whichever subject you go, suppose we are talking about some electrical circuits, in that what we consider as a loop, that is nothing but in a given electrical network or a given electrical circuit, whenever we, let's say, start from one point and then going through the circuit, if we get back to the same point again, then that is considered as a loop. Similarly, in signal flow graph, you have to find for a loop, right? So it is very easy to find the loops here. See, I can consider this as loop. So I would say loop number 1, I would say L1 as y2 to y3 and then y3 back to y2. As you can see, starting node and terminating node are same, and then it is considered as loop. So this is first loop, right? So I would consider this as L1. I can consider this loop as L2. So let me write for L2. So you have to write the nodes which are associated with respect to that node, so as to understand which loop I'm talking about. So let's say I'm talking about loop number 2, then I'm traveling from y3 to y4 and then from y4 back to y3. So it is like this, y3 to y4 and from y4 back to y3. Look at loop number 3, very simple. So it is starting from y4, y4 to y5 and y5 back to y4. Is that right? So even loop 3 is figured out. Look at loop number 5. That is nothing but a bigger loop. So if you look at bigger loop, it is like this, y2 to y3, y3 to y4, y4 to y5 and then y5 back to y2. Am I right? But can I do that? Answer is no. Look at this arrow. I mean, it is going forward. I mean, it is not coming in the reverse direction. Therefore, I cannot consider this as loop. Am I right? So I cannot consider this as loop. But as you can see, look at this y4. It is starting from y4 and then it is getting back to y4 only, as you can see. So I can consider this in fact as a loop. I would in fact consider that as loop number 4. Am I right? So loop number 4 is starting from y4 and you know what, it is ending at y4 only, and a such loop which consists of only one node. Please understand what I'm saying. A loop which consists of only one node is considered as a self loop. So y4 is called as a self loop. The rest of the loops are only called as loops. They are not self loop because it is not involving one node. It is involving more than a node. Am I right? So by observation, we get 4 loops in this. Am I right? But then a strong observer will say there is one more loop. Let us see how do we get one more loop here. So pay attention very carefully. I'll start from this y2. Look at this. I'm starting from y2. Then from y2, I'm going to y5. As you can see, from y5, I'm going to y4. From y4, I can come to y3. And from y3, I'm coming back to y2. I hope you understood this. So I can consider this as loop number 5 here. So let us see loop number 5. So it is going from y2, then from y2 it is going to y5. From y5 it is coming back to y4. Then from y4 it is coming to y3. And as you can see, there is a provision from y3 to come back to y2. So as you can see, there are total 5 loops. And out of those 5 loops, loop number 4 is considered as a self loop because it is involving only one node. Please remember, when a particular loop consists of only one node, that is a starting and the terminating point itself is a loop, then it is considered as a self loop. Let us try to understand what is meant by non-touching loops. So first of all, we will recall all the loops that we have stated here. So let me just note down whatever loops we had so far. So these were the loops which we have studied in the last slide. Let us understand what is meant by non-touching loops. Okay. So in this case, what you can do is you can compare multiple loops together. When I'm saying multiple loops, it means I'm talking about more than one loop. Okay. So it can be like this, that you can compare 2 loops together, or you can compare 3 loops together, and you have to see whether they are touching each other or not. Let us understand what is meant by non-touching loop. Non-touching loops are those loops where you will not find a common node. Where you will not find a common node. So let me just name those nodes. If you remember, this was loop number 1. This is nothing but loop number 2. This is loop number 3. The self loop was loop number 4. And the loop that we got from a strong observation was loop number 5. If you remember, we started from y2. Then we reach to y5. From y5 we get back to y4. From y4 we get back to y3. And from y3 we get back to y2. Such kind of loop we have seen in the last, that is loop number 5. So let us say I'm comparing loop number 1 and loop number 2. So when I'm comparing loop number 1 and loop number 2, you have to see whether there are any common nodes. As you can see, yes, there are common nodes, that is y3 and y3. It means if there is even a single node which is common between two loops, it means these loops are physically touching each other. That is, they are sharing a common node. For example, as you can see, even physically it is very well appeared that loop number 1 and loop number 2 are touching to each other with y3. So as you can see, y3 is a common node between loop 1 and loop 2. So I cannot consider loop 1 and loop 2 as non-touching loops. I hope you understood how to get non-touching loops, or how to understand that L1, L2 are not two non-touching loops, right? The reason why I'm saying two non-touching loops, because I'm comparing two loops. So whenever you are comparing for two loops, you will find two non-touching loop or two touching loops, like that. Or you might consider three loops together so as to get three non-touching loops. So it is quite clear that L1 and L2 comparison is done. So what I'll do is I'll try to compare L1 with L3 now. So in L1 and L3, as you can see, L1 consists of Y2, Y3, Y2, but L3 consists of Y4, Y5, Y4. It means it is not involving a common node. So there is no common node between L1 and L3. I would say L1, L3 are two non-touching loops. So in this non-touching loop, I got a first pair, that is L1, L3. I would declare L1, L3 as two non-touching loops. So 2NL means there are two non-touching loops. So I have compared L1 with L2 first, then L1 and L3. So obviously now I'll compare L1 with L4. So again, L1 and L4 are two non-touching loops because L1 consists of Y2, Y3, Y2, whereas L4 consists of only Y4. So again, there is no common node. I would say I got second pair, that is L1, L4. So this is the second set of two non-touching loop. Then I'll compare L1 with L5. So as you compare L1 with L5, at beginning only you see y2 is the node which is involved in loop 5, and in fact even loop 1 is starting with y2. So since there is a common node, I won't say L1 L5 are non-touching loops. They are touching loops because they are sharing a common node. I hope now you have understood how to compare the loops. So I have compared L1 with L2, L3, L4, L5. Now you have to follow this way. Now you will compare L2 with rest of the nodes. So now what I'll do is I'll compare L2 with L3. Look at L2, L3, Y4 is common, so I cannot consider them as non-touching loop. Then I'll compare L2 with L4. Again, Y4 is common node. Then I'll compare L2 with L5. As you can see, L5 is also involving the same node, that is Y4. So with L2, there would be no non-touching loop, right? Now what does that mean? Now I'm not going to compare L1 and L2 with any other loop. Now I'll start comparing L3 with L4. So as you can see, Y4 is common node between L3 and L4. Even L3 L5, as you can see, Y4 is a common node, so L3 L5 cannot be two non-touching loops. In fact, now compare L4 with L5. As you can see, again Y4 is the common node between them. Therefore, L4 L5 cannot be two non-touching loops. See, even for this question, I would say without actually going through the nodes, you can identify from the figure itself which are non-touching loops. As you can see, L1 and L3 are isolated, so I can consider them as two non-touching loops. In fact, I can compare L1 with L4. Am I right? L1 and L4 are again isolated loops. Okay, if you see L2 and L4, graphically it is clear that Y4 is a shared node. Even when you compare L3 with L4, as you can see, again there is a common node as Y4. So sometimes it happens that signal flow graph is so easy. Just by observation only you will come to know which are non-touching loops, which are touching loops. But then you have to adopt only this method. That is, you have to always see the nodes, because most of the time, in fact, from GATE point of view or any competitive exam point of view, if I'm telling you, you will see that there are complex SFG in which it is not possible for naked eyes just to see and observe, or just to come to a conclusion which are non-touching loops and which are touching loops. So this methodology that I have explained you, I mean, jot down all the loops that you have, that is, write down all the loops you have along with their respective nodes, and there, by comparing whether the nodes are common or uncommon, depending upon that you decide whether they are touching or they are non-touching. So what we have done is with two non-touching loops. So what I have so far is set of two non-touching loops. So two non-touching loops I have. So I don't have third set. Then I'll go for three non-touching loops. So what is meant by three non-touching loops? Then you have to compare L1, L2, L3 together. As you can see, L1, L2, L3 cannot be non-touching loop at the same time because L1 and L2 are already touching each other. So by observation, one can say that there are no three non-touching loops. So I'll write the conclusion here. So what that statement means, there are no three non-touching loops. So we cannot have set of three loops together and I can claim that they are not touching each other or they are not sharing a common node. So I hope you understood these terminologies. So motive of this session is just to make you understand what is exactly meant by SFG, how it is constructed, and third, to understand the terminologies while solving the problems of SFG. Thank you.